G'day mate, and welcome back to Factorio with me, JD, and it's done. It's done. I've got solid fuel done. It was a absolute nightmare, to be honest. I've still got the original build at the top, the original proposed build, which, as you remember, was 10 chemical plants long and then 16 assemblers to make solid fuel. And the idea was with output from these, then input in all those, and that was a lot of inserters. Instead, what we have, it's slightly longer, but it is 17 refineries long with 34 assemblers making rocket fuel. And then we've got that once, that twice, that 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So the whole build, and we'll get max rate and we'll run over the whole thing, is 102 chemical plants. If you remember, we needed 99.9. So we've got 102 instead, so it's slightly overbuilt, but that should be fine. With 204 assemblers, so many too many assemblers, but that's fine. In theory, they should go to sleep if they don't have enough solid fuel. A lot of long-handed inserters, a lot of stack inserters, and the whole thing sucks in 3,300 light oil per second, which is going to require pumps. So as you can see, I've got 4 lanes of light oil coming in, and we're going to have to run pumps. Well, we're going to have to bring everything into a tank and then pump it out from there. All the rocket fuel outputs, and then slides onto this belt. I'm hoping it's lane balance. I'm not sure. Haven't actually looked into that part yet. It should be fine because it's mirrored, but this should give us 1.4 blue belts of solid fuel, of rocket fuel out the other end. I'm not too worried about the plumbing just at this stage, because considering the size of this, we're actually going to have to merge all the light oil together. And then once it's merged together, we're then going to have to split it out into the different systems. I just need to pack up all of this really quick. So the next thing we really need to work on, come on robots, is I need to make a builder's suit, but I haven't even started on that yet. In my inventory, come on guys, hurry up. We need a couple more robot speeds. That's what we need. There we go. So the other thing that's happened is our power network has sort of been blown. As you can see, this blue line over a 10-hour graph has just gone up and up and up. We're using a lot of powers and beacons now, and if we actually go back to this, you can see this build to do 5 rockets per minute actually needs 6.4 gigawatts worth of power, which is a lot. So our solar fields are definitely not keeping up. I've actually gone and doubled nuclear and then added another nuclear plant. And if I can find a good spot, doesn't really matter where we put it. If I go into here, I already have one blueprinted. We're just going to slap that down right there. It already comes with the water pre-blueprinted because I blueprinted the tiles, which is obviously water tiles. So these will get blown up like that. And after these robots have charged, come on, a couple more explosives required. Done. And then I can take the same blueprint and just build it right over the top of itself, and they'll actually put the water pumps in place. So, got to keep adding nuclear, at least until I actually get out and expand the solar fields. As you can see, our nuclear is building up, and it has a massive drop-off when solar can actually take over for a very short period before it's got to kick back in. Actually, no, I disconnected the solid fuel build, and that finally gave us enough power, just. So, next thing I really want to, or I really need to work on is our plastic. Now, our plastic is, plastic is a whole separate nightmare. Plastic is, okay, we'll bring this back over. Plastic is 13 belts of plastic from 35 chemical plants. Now, plastic is one of the worst things to actually have to output. Really? Go in there. Because of the speed it outputs, actually, let's go look at the existing plastic build. Because of how fast one machine outputs, getting it neatly into both sides of the belt is very, very difficult. And as you can see, I've had to use 4 stack inserters here. And it's still not quite keeping up. And I don't know if I actually have a good solution for this. So we're going to try a couple of things. They may work, they may not work. Unfortunately, I don't know how much testing we can actually do. In theory, actually, I'd have to do the testing on an actual working build. Because I'd really like to use less inserters. But let's start with the basics. So that is the basic build. Put that in there, bring those out. Now, I can, and I'm going to, move these out one tile. No, I can't. 2 tile gap. Oh, I can move these ones out one tile. I can move that over a tile and that over a tile. So that is the maximum amount of room we've got to play with. Now we need to bring coal in and coal out to the next one. Power can go away for a moment because I can work that out later. We've still got to bring in our petroleum. And honestly, I'd like to squeeze in the stack inserters in a slightly... I'd like to get them to output better. That's probably the best way of putting it. Now, you can have a stack inserter put on a belt and run the belt that way. Another one here. When you do this, you actually get... The splitters have an internal buffer. And when you do this, you get a tiny little amount of extra items that can sit on or in the splitter. So when the stack insert is flipping again, it has just a fraction of a buffer that slightly increases the throughput from the splitters. And this is what I'd like to try. The catch is, as you can see, it needs 3 tiles. Because it needs 3 tiles, it suddenly means that I can't have all the beacons I would like. And if I go over here real quick, and we cut off 1 beacon. So we go from 24 down to 22. We go from 35 to 38. So it's a lot of extra. Just minimize, please. It's a lot of extra. It's a couple of extra chemical plants for me losing 1 beacon. Now, will it pay off? I don't know. And can I fit it is the second question. Not really. No, because you can't output there. So I'm actually going to lose 2 beacons. If I change that down to 20, so we're going from 35 up to 41. So it's a lot of extra machines on a system that we don't even know whether it'll work or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's got to be an odd number. Move them into tiles. Put those there. Move those into tiles. It's got to be an odd amount. It doesn't have to be a multiple of 6. It's just got to be an odd amount. Okay. We're going to go right on our train. And we're going to go to the existing plastic build. Oh, screenshots. Okay. can't even bring that in the map. That's the frustrating thing. The game is just paused. Train. We're actually gonna go. Oh, just bail. It's not worth the detour. Oh, screw it. The train can work its own way at home. We're going to jump off here. And I'm going to cut this plastic belt, Yeah. And that didn't work. So, I can't see it now. Paste. Roll back a few lines. That one. It's not helping. Okay, so we had undo. So I've got 3 doing 51. Okay. You go over there. Go away, go away, go away, go away. Go away. So I've got 3 of these guys doing 51 plastic per second. 2 only does 34. If I cut those beacons, and those beacons, and then I run it again, you now do 43. So I've got to get some beacon coverage back in. Now the real question is, it really comes down to, can I use less stack inserters? Because that's what I'm really aiming for. I'm looking for less inserters overall. That wouldn't exist, so power can just go there. Okay. So we want to go there, there and there. I want to go there and there. I want to bring that out. And then I want to duplicate that there, there. That can go away, that can go away. Put that there and duplicate that there. Now, can I get extra beacons in? I don't think the answer is yes. Nope, 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 nope. No, I can't get extra beacons in. So I've now got a build that doesn't actually output a whole blue belt. Okay, let's try it anyway. So, the belt's not going to slow down, and in fact I'll even do that to confirm that we've got way more draw than what these 3 machines can provide. But they are keeping up so far. That's keeping up. That's keeping up. No, it's starting to fall. And that's starting to fall as well. Now, they are going to be lane balanced automatically, so that's one thing this build has in its favor. It's automatically lane balanced because it can output onto both sides of the belt. It hasn't technically fallen behind yet, but you can see here that it's, when it backs up, you can see it's outputting this extra bit of plastic over on this corner of this splitter, provides that buffer whilst the stack inserter is going back and forth. No, it's slowly falling behind. That's not a coal input problem. It's purely a build problem. It's not quite fast enough. Okay, can we squeeze in more beacons? After it finishes taking a screenshot. So you're at 455 speed, 455 speed, 455. Can I squeeze in one more beacon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys can go up a tile. No, no. Technically, you can go over a tile. Technically, you can go up a tile, or over a tile, and up a tile. It's still too far away. I don't have the beacon coverage that I want. But even then, max rate calculator says 43, and it is keeping up so far. If I do that, does that vastly change? 43.7. That did not make an ounce of a difference, really. And that's the problem. Changing a prod mod for a speed mod does not really make that much of a difference. It does in your input. In your input, it will make a big difference. But in your output, with maximum or with a large number of speed beacons and productivity modules, there's not a lot of a difference. There was a gap. I just saw a gap. There's another gap. Yeah, we're not keeping up. Okay. So that build doesn't work. Alright, if we go back to what we had... Okay, realistically, that can all go away. It's a failed experiment. Realistically, there should be... If I've got... Sure, just connect that. If I've got 2 stack inserters outputting on one side of the belt, and 2 stack inserters yeah, that's down the top side of the belt. You guys can slide back down a tile. We can put you back and you back. Put power over there. Slide you guys back down. Put one there. Slide you guys back down a tile. Slide that there, and put power here. Done. If you're outputting on one side of the belt, and it's not technically backing up, we will have done that in the network. And you're outputting on the other side of the belt, and again, technically it's not backing up. It's not flashing up and saying no room for output. Because if I clear that, well, 34 is what it stacks to. So it's definitely not stacking up to 34. In theory, and that's what it is, it's a theory, if this guy can output onto both sides of the belt, that should be enough. That should be more than enough to do 51 and keep the belt fully backed up. Because that's really what I'm getting down to. I want as few inserters as possible, and I don't want these air gaps. If at all possible. Like, so that's a big gap. Okay, so let's double up your inserter count. That's better, but now you're blocking this guy outputting. And we've got another gap because of it. So what I actually want to do is I want to sideload. I want to sideload onto the bottom side of the belt has to be the bottom side of the belt. I want to have enough room with my side loading. I want to have enough room with my side loading so I can have a amount of material on a belt. So when there's any gaps, it's auto-filled by the material on the belt. Am I making sense? I think I'm making sense. No, that can go away. Power. Power can go over here. Can I cut all that and move it over the top? I can. Okay, if I want to get to the bottom side of this belt, and that's going to be the issue. It has to be the last machine. Okay, so let's stop all this. Okay, so last machine fills the gaps. So you're going to output twice onto the bottom side of the belt. I want to output there. So I could do this. Hey, now Jet is thinking. Now the brain's firing. Okay. So then if I take 2 stack inserters, bring the material down, wrap it around and plug it in there. So that's fixed one side of the belt. This bottom side is now always backed up. The problem is I now need to output on the other side as well. Can I slide all this up a tile? No, because you'll then be centered. 2 tiles. No, 3 tiles. Okay, I can slide everything up 3 tiles. Because I need an extra tile. 1, 2, 3. Paste that there. Ooh. I think my mouse slipped. Okay. I need you guys to move over a tile, because I need that extra gap. Which means technically you guys got to move over, keep everything neat, because believe it or not, that's actually important to me. So if that still leaves there, like we're really getting into the spaghetti now. But you've got 2. Actually, let's try it. 1 stack inserter. 16. How much do you output? You output 17. So in theory, 1 stack inserter can keep up with you, which also means in theory, 1 stack inserter can keep up with this guy. Just like it's going to stack up really high and then drop really low. But then we've got this guy dumping onto both sides of the belt with a very, very long belt buffer to fill any gaps. That's keeping up. That's keeping up. And this guy's keeping up and filling any gaps. He's got nothing in his buffer. He's staying under the like 25 mark. If I empty that one and empty that one. Oh, insufficient. What was that? It's insufficient coal. You're actually burning so fast now that we can't get coal in fast enough. It's actually not affecting it. I still haven't set any gaps. Probably because we're overproducing by a little bit. Okay. So. There's a little gap. And another little gap. Okay. In saying that, I haven't updated to 45, which did have that stack inserter fix in it. So that'll probably fix me. But we've gone from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 stack inserters for output to 1, 2, 6. So this is a much, much more efficient build. It does have this one tile anomaly. So it's going to mean layering it is going to be really tricky. Powering it also looks like it's going to be tricky. I can put power in that corner. Yeah, the gaps are getting worse. But that could just be an update Factorio situation. If I cut that and put it back there, is that where you belong? Yes. I think. I think I ripped it up and putting it back is a whole different story. Coal goes there. And petroleum goes there. You can output there. And we'll just put that back together. Okay. That's my proposed build. It should be fast enough after I update Factorio, and then we don't have a shortage on the coal input, which is a different shortage to have. Yeah, it's, as you can see, the coal's definitely running out. And it's not a belt throughput problem, it's a stack inserter's too slow to pick stuff up, which is a very nice problem to have. Yeah, on these ones, they never ran out of coal. And they had a lot faster output. So, okay, that's my proposed build. Next episode, because we've spent so long playing with this, next episode I'm going to build this out. We do need 13 belts, or 13 and a half belts of plastic. So, this build duplicated like pretty much 13 in a row, because I can't... No, there is absolutely no room to actually thread. Yeah, you're doing 6.55, you're doing 6.55, yeah, you're all doing the same speed. There's no room to thread a extra underground through one of these builds. Or maybe there is. Maybe, yeah, I can thread one through in the beaking gap. So I can build one, put another one behind it, thread them through, feed them from the same petroleum line. In saying that, actually, they use a fair bit of petroleum, but not nearly as high as I thought. So yeah, next episode, we'll have plastic laid out, hopefully, and hopefully it runs at full speed. I'm not going to know probably until I update and then run this test again. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to do before we go any further. And then maybe we'll actually do the finer parts of plumbing together the oil build, so it becomes one gigantic, massive build we can then blueprint for good. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you're enjoying the series. As always, thoughts, comments, suggestions, any way you can see how to improve this damn build, please leave them down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right.